Can we do this?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Glue Pod. I'm your host, Aaron Glueckauf, and this is my third episode, and I'm very happy to have Mr. Jose, the GOAT Fernandez, here with me. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. What's going on, Aaron, man? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, dude. I'm stoked, man. Like, it's crazy. I posted this in the Instagram, the thing about this, like about how we go way back and, just talking to each other about each other's just journeys through life and things we were going through at the time and how, the fight game has this appeal that makes you want to work hard and stay focused on it, and it brings that passion. I know it's like that for you. It's something that it's a thing of passion for you.
Yeah, man. It's the sweet science, Once you get bit by that bug, it goes far beyond the ring. It's just a terrific thing to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you had for the listeners, an extensive amateur career, 2007 Golden Glove champ.
Yes, sir.
When did you start boxing? When did you pick it up?
I started, I want to say about 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
I bounced around from gyms, really didn't have like a set coach, so to speak. I just kind of was like, man, I want to do this. Let me go figure out where the hell I'm going to get started. You know what I mean? Who's going to teach me? And at that age, I just went different places. I started at Knockout over on the Kendo Ice Arena on the second floor. Then I bounced to Thump. I went, bunch of places, and I ended up at Tropical.
Hell yeah, dude. And what was Tropical like back then relative to what it is now? I know it's a lot different.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Completely. Back then it was, well, first when you walk in, it's like no AC. When I personally went, it was summertime, so that Miami humidity and that heat is killer, dude. It's like you walk in there, it's like a little oven. Yeah. And it's like nobody greeted you. It was like a bunch of guys, tough guys, shirts off, tattoos all over the place. They're spitting on the ground. Like, it's just a rough kind of, and you're like, wow, this is a boxing gym.
A real boxing gym.
You have to go in there and be like, hey, I want to learn how to box. And they're like, yeah, we'll take it step by step, slow down.
Right.
It's not like what it is now. Now it's more of like the kids program. It has classes.
Right. It's a very family-oriented sort of vibe.
Yeah, it's transitioned over
a
bunch.
Well, and so when you showed up at Tropical, who was the first coach you got with? How did you get into the thing?
My first coach, his name is Everett. Everett Weaver, I believe is his last name. He's from Virginia. He's a southpaw. And he had that job there at the county, working for the county. I know he was a pro fighter, or just turning pro, and he was just starting off, and he was just fresh moved over here. That was the first guy to teach me, man.
Yeah, dude.
First guy. Was an amazing guy.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, man. And did you, when you got started, did you know right away you're like, I want to compete, I want to fight, or were you just looking for an outlet, to get whatever, just checking something out?
I knew I wanted to fight.
Yeah.
It was something I had to prove of myself, given the circumstances of my life and growing up. It was like I needed to be in that environment. I wanted to be a pro. It was just something that I just, as a kid, just wanted to just chase,
Yeah. And after you started, how soon after that did you, have your first fight?
I want to say about 3 months into it.
Yeah.
After the bouncing around, which means, I got punched in the face a bunch of times.
Right.
Bloody nose, swollen lips, contemplating why the hell am I even doing this, But once I got set in Tropical and I had a coach and I had the kind of training regimen that was firm, 3 months into I had my first amateur fight. I was 18 years old.
Wow, man.
So I bounced around do the math, I started at 14, 15, about 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. I feel like that's it's a sport that you kind of have to bounce around to these different gyms, right? And find what works for you, depending on, your life circumstance, where you're at, the chemistry with the coach, or even where they're at. If they've got this whole stable of guys they're focused on, are they going to have time for somebody new? Do you feel that way, or is it just you kind of have to just force your way in any situation?
I mean, in my personal opinion,
Yeah.
I want to agree with everything you just said. It's you kind of gotta feel it out because number one, a lot of people, especially before back in the day, they're not gonna want to waste their time on somebody who, you know, how many people go into a boxing gym are like, hey, I want to box, and then they get hit with one good shot and they never come back again.
Right. Right.
So it was like a lot of time when you see that a lot, you're like, okay, you know.
Right.
So you gotta kind of prove yourself a little bit. So how they weed those people out is they throw you in sparring and make sure you can handle the butt kicking you're gonna get.
Right. Right.
Before they even know, you know, they gotta test that toughness.
Right.
So with that, yeah, it's like you bounce around and you want to eventually find somebody that's gonna, you know, take care of you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because obviously, you know, it's it comes with its dangers, you know, inherently.
Yeah, it's not ballet.
No. And I mean, transitioning, because and you were, for the listeners, you know, you spent a lot of time training other people, and you know a lot about, you know, getting a real workout program together, how to train, not just for a fight, but just normal life. And did it feel like a really quick segue from, you know, having all these amateur fights, having spent all this time in a gym, to a point where you're like, okay, I could, you know, I know enough to pass this on to other people and make a living, make some money, you know, training people?
To be honest with you, I never thought I was capable of doing that. Just teaching somebody. But the owner of Thump, who actually owns Tropical 2, he was the one that got me into it. Because at first, I want to say I'm kind of like introverted. I don't really, you know, want to. It's hard teaching somebody something, let alone a class. You know, it's just something that I didn't really see myself doing. But with the experience I have, and trying it out, I started putting everything together and learning how to differentiate and train those kind of people, you know, like fighters, because fighters train different than regular people. There's some people that just like to go in and sweat a little bit, and you got to learn how to work with people and the different kinds of characters that are in front of you.
Totally. It's funny because like people who may see what I'm doing in the world of music, or just my friends, and they're not into, they don't know about the fight game, but just even training on that level in general. And they're like, well, I don't want to get hit in the face or this or that. It's like, no, you can get into box, like go to a boxing gym, take a couple classes. Like, it's going to be great for, like, you don't have to be, you know, trying to fight in the amateurs or the pros to go get to have an amazing experience. And I was telling my sister this because, you know, she's into boxing. Like, so she used to watch with one of her boyfriends, stuff like that. And I'm like, you should go and just train and just hit a bag, work big. You're gonna feel amazing, you know, emotionally. It's the best. It's not just the best workout. It's the best, like, just release of, like, tension, anxiety. And the thing I love about a boxing gym is, like, even people who are maybe overweight or have no idea what they're doing, nobody's talking crap on that person. You know, if someone's in there putting in the work, you know, and there could be some old lady, right, like at Tropical or something, like, working out, and then next to her is like a world champion, you know, and nobody, you know, I think people feel this intimidation because it's boxing, because it's in, you know.
Most definitely, man. They're definitely one of the most intimidating places to walk into is a boxing gym. But, you know, when you get there, it's like you say, people are oddly friendlier.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're in there and you're putting the effort, you can be, like you said, an older lady, somebody who's not in shape, somebody who's overweight. Just the fact that you're in there, you know, those guys give you your respect. Fighters are a different. It's like a different kind of class of human being, you know. It's a mutual respect when you go in there. It's kind of difficult to explain. It's something you had, you know, because you're going through it too. And to touch the topics on people, because I get that a lot sometimes, where people wanna box, but they think it's about getting hit in the face. You don't have to do any of that, you know. You can just do the mitt work, hit the bag. You can simulate somebody throwing at you, but you don't necessarily. There's this thing. It's the same thing with people think that you get your nose broken before you start boxing, like, mandatory. That's all. I just want to clarify that's all BS, man. Yeah. Never have I gotten my nose broken. I've gotten it punched a couple times, but
Yeah.
Never broken. Those kind of things, you don't need to take the damage to enjoy the attributes that boxing gives you, you know? And it carries on beyond the ring.
It really does. And I mean, that's the thing. It's like, the other thing is funny about that. Like we were saying, it's like, first of all, even if you go and you're like, I'm just going to go try this out, no one's going to hit you in the face because no one's throwing you in the ring right away. And especially nowadays.
No.
Like, there's just too much liability. There's
Safety.
too much safety. Right.
There's so much damage that can happen. It's just somebody like that. The person has to, like what I was explaining before about walking into the gym back in the day. That's a fighter's journey is completely different than, let's say, the average person or a client. Those kind of people, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
You know, you don't want to throw them to the wolves, you know.
No, and these trainers, you know, they're trying to make a buck. They want you to come back and train. And
good trainers do.
Good trainers, yeah.
Good trainers.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to find, it's like, you don't need to go to somebody who is exclusively training pro fighters or something to get a great mitt workout or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go with a regular guy that's just gonna, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now go hit the bag for a little while. All that stuff, still, you get great results. It's not boring. You don't go into a gym and go 3 sets of 12.
All right.
It's keeping you thinking, keeping your mind busy. You can relieve your stress from whatever the hell you're going through, It's awesome.
It really is. And I mean, I feel like it's funny because I heard on a podcast, I think it's the Bruce Lee podcast, which is run by his daughter, and she talks about like her first time like in sparring or whatever, and just she was like, I feel like it's an experience everybody should have at some point in their life. Like there's something about it. So even if you get in there and do some light sparring, there is something, about it when you walk out of there. Obviously not. We're not talking about like full on, somebody trying to hurt you, but just for even like the average consumer, like what that's like, that tension and that release when knowing you survived when you get out can be really like therapeutic.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that. I didn't know, by the way, Jet Li has or Bruce Lee, I'm sorry, has a podcast.
Yeah, I think it's his. They run like I think his daughter still's like really in charge of his all his stuff and like
the Instagram too, right? Because I follow the Instagram, but I didn't know about the podcast.
Yeah,
I'm gonna listen to that.
Yeah,
it's funny that they say that because I tell people that, especially for a man or a young boy, I think it's very important.
Yeah,
for them to go through something like that, because at the end of the day, you've got to remember that. I mean, obviously we're sophisticated, we're educated, but it's primal. It's instinctually inside of us. It's good for every human being to go through something like that. It tests your character. It tests your toughness, mentally and physically, because it's not just two people beating each other up in there.
Right.
It's a thinking sport. It's like chess, man. It's very important for people to go through that.
Yeah. It makes you better at everything outside. It's for me, it's been like, it really dials you in your mind in for anything you got to take on, and like the pressures of things is like in my normal life they don't seem as intense, and because you've just done 5 rounds in the ring, you're like, all right, the rest of the day is easy.
Yeah, right. I've dodged all those punches that were trying to kill me. Now I can deal with anything.
Now I'm good.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. That's why I'm so addicted to it.
Right. And you had a long journey, like just in the amateur. So you had your first fight, you were saying 18.
Yeah.
18. And you went and fought how many? 14, 15 fights after that?
15, yeah. Between the span of, because again, I had to work full time, so I was always in and out of competing. But over the span of about, I'm 32 now, over 15 years, I gave up boxing competitively for the last 7 years or so. So, I mean, yeah, I would say for the course of my amateur career, it must have been a good 6 years on and off, But again, there were times that, how it is, where you show up, and you don't get a fight. You're ready to go, but there's not anybody there to match you up with, but you still go through the experience. You're still in the gym, you're still working.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have quite the little background there.
I mean, and when you finished your like fight, did you have an intention, to hang it up, or were you distracted by other things? I mean, I know you've gone in and out of things you've dealt with in your personal life, and to get to this point now, which obviously we're gonna get deep into with this bare knuckle boxing and everything. But like, was there a purposeful reason to stop after the 15th or whatever, the last fight in the amateurs?
No, man. I mean, well, my injuries were pretty bad. They're still pretty bad. And life pulled me in a different direction. I didn't specifically have anything. I just, at the age that I had stopped, I thought I was going to be a little farther than where I was. On a personal note, I kind of, myself was my biggest enemy. Yeah. So I pretty much just kind of laid that to rest and just came with the grips of, okay, competitively, maybe it's time to just turn my direction elsewhere. I had picked up personal training.
Yeah.
Life was pulling me in different areas, That's basically why I gave it up.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I feel like sometimes, like with life, like things are about timing, and, you circle back to those times when you're young and you're going through this, and, they're still coming back to you now, like those experiences. Now here you are in the position and recently signing with a pro promotion company, and, you have all this experience in your back pocket. You have, it's right there that you can reach out and get it,
Yeah, definitely. Life is an interesting journey, man.
Yeah.
It pulled me back in, and it's just like you said, those times, those were the best years of my life, competing and enduring it with all the other fighters, all working towards the same goal. We may be in there alone, but we all endure the same path, and just remembering that, and just, you wake up different when you know, all right, this day, somebody, I better be ready. If not, that guy's going to take me out. It's like going to war, dude. I can't. That's the best way for me to explain it. It's like you wake up and that edge is there, that competitive nature that you just, I got to keep working. I got to keep learning. I got to make sure I don't get hurt in there. Because at the end of the day, it's a sport, but we don't play boxing.
No.
We fight.
No, and that's why it's funny because, like, obviously I'm just doing this as a hobby or whatever, but even you're asking me, like, when am I going to fight again? It's like, I feel like after I got that, it was like a big goal for me to win a fight. And then I did it, and I had made all these lifestyle changes to be able to go,
remember.
And immediately afterwards, it was like a lot went by the wayside, and it's like I lost that edge. Like I don't, like, and I know, and at the same time, I don't know if I want to go back to that. Like, I'm like, I know what is required. Like, a big part of the competitive, part of me wants to, and actually there's probably a lot of benefits outside of just trying to accomplish something by getting there, but it's like people don't understand is what you're saying. It's like that when you're gonna fight somebody and it's coming up in a month and a half, whenever, every day you wake up thinking about it.
Yeah,
and go to sleep thinking about it.
It becomes an obsession.
Yeah,
I mean, the ones that really want to do well,
right?
And at the end of the day, you don't want to get hurt. It's not like a regular loss. You get hurt if you're not prepared.
And for me, it's like I'm not. I didn't grow up going to a tournament every weekend or something where guys are just getting so used to accustomed to so every time it's like something I have to really mentally gear up for, and there is something amazing about it, but it is very challenging, like, because you got to want to live in that space.
And it's very challenging, and a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And being in that, it's rough. And let me just touch the fact that when you said you made all these lifestyle changes, I remember them, man. And it's something I don't forget, because I would always talk to you about it. And the same subject we're touching, I remember that in my head, and it's one of the reasons why I came back, and I was like, man, that edge, that little competitive nature, that little beast, it's good to feel that, man. It's a unique feeling, and it was cool, and it was inspiring watching you do it.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, for the listeners, Jose's the guy who literally I was on a phone call. I was searching for like this. Was doing mitts with this random dude in a park, and it was just like, at some point I realized, like, okay, this is boxers go to a gym where there's like, you start to figure out like what these, for any of the listeners out there, if you want to be serious, you just watch out for the guys that are just hanging around in parking lot, whatever, giving people mitts. Like, there are better ways to learn. But then my buddy Eric Garcia, who you've sparred with back in the day, and he did all this. He's done tons of sparring and competing in the amateurs, and he told me about Tropical, and I'm blanking on the owner's name right now. Steve, right? I called Steve,
also a musician, by the way,
right.
Great musician, great guitar player.
So then he hit me to you, and then that was my first real boxing training. And then the funny thing is, like, you planted the seed of like amateur competition. And from that moment, like the moment that like entered my mind, I was like, wait a minute, I can, because in basketball, football, soccer, whatever, if you're not, coming through a school and institution, it's tracked. Like, yeah, you could go to your local LA Fitness and pick up a basketball team and do league, whatever. This is different than that.
Yeah.
People, and I have some buddies who, like, they may think, like, me competing in boxing, knowing my age and my lack of experience, whatever, that me going and fighting, even if the person's 22 or whatever, is the same as, like, some rec basketball situation, like, where you sign up for a league. No. The fight game is the one game where you can get a pro license and you're a pro boxer. And you can, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's totally different. All you gotta do is
register with the DVPR. That's it. Here you go. They don't ask you to try out or anything.
No tryouts.
It's your funeral, buddy.
And you planted that seed in my head, and that.
No, wait a minute. Let me cut you off there because remember that you were a fencer.
Yes.
So you had that seed already.
That's true.
I just sparked it back up because I saw that you had the intentions. Because remember, it was just a mitts, and then maybe I should try the sparring. What do you think? And then remember that we had worked for a little bit, and I had started explaining all that to you. But you had that drive in you already. You just
reignited it.
Yeah, resurrected it. Yeah, is the word I was looking for. Yeah, with the fighting again.
Well, and that's true. I mean, I think it helps having had the fencing background. Like, at the level that I was doing it at, to, like, there's some footwork, there's some cousin relationships between the two in terms of the feet and how you place them, how you push off a back, but whatever. Obviously, the consequences for making a mistake are quite different. Like, the fence, it's not like you do feel the blade point you, but it is nothing like getting punched in the face with a 12-ounce glove.
Ouch, yeah.
No.
Or in the ribs.
Right. Or in your case...
The ribs are probably worse.
Or in your case, bare knuckle.
Yeah, no, gloves. I only use gloves now when I'm baking.
Dude. So, I mean, that's a good segue, because, I mean... So, you got to explain to people how this journey has your... We were talking about my resurrection with my competitive drive. Your resurrection within this fight game and getting to the point you're at. I've been watching you bust your ass to get back here. We've had mad phone calls talking about it. And I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so happy that, you went out there, got the results you wanted. You deserve it,
Thank you, man. Yeah, we put in some serious miles on that track. You remember?
Ooh. And we're going to touch base on that, because we're definitely going to do it. I got to talk, get your info out there for the people, because this guy knows how to, like, if anyone out there wants to get in shape, you need to hit this dude up, because you know what I mean, like, the knowledge you have of strength and conditioning as well as the boxing skill. And I guess that's what you would think that was normal. Sorry to go on a tangent here, but it's like,
no, it's fine.
Actually, I'm surprised by how many guys who are really good at boxing are really dumb with conditioning. Like, there's a young dude at the gym, super talented. Like, he's a natural. It's almost to his downfall. Like, he's got just, he's slick. He's a teenager, and he's slick. I mean, he's really got, but he doesn't, he was getting ready for his first fight. I'm like, are you doing, and I'm reciting the things as if I came up with that you've taught me, like sprinting 800s and that kind of stuff. It's like, are you, like, do you know about this stuff? Because obviously, Nene is not the coach of Tropical. He's not teaching that stuff. I mean, yeah, they're doing sprint drills at the end and stuff, but it's just that level. You have a massive knowledge of, which we'll touch on. But I wanted to get back to how your resurgence back into this fighting game and now into the bare knuckle fighting, which is a whole different ball game.
Yeah, it's definitely a different ball game entirely. Man, to be honest with you, I had life had really brought me down, and I found myself in a pretty sticky situation. And for my health, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go back to what I used to do. to make sure I'm okay, and so at first I thought, okay, I'm gonna get in shape, I'm gonna lose because I had gained weight, and I thought I'm gonna get in shape and I'm gonna start looking for some pro fights, boxing. So then I started kind of working around, trying to figure out the pieces, just like I did in the beginning, kind of figuring it out. I went to Dave at Tropical, and the first thing I did was start paying him. He was the closest guy I knew, and I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I want to get back in the game, but first things first, while I'm trying this, I need to get back in shape. I need to start moving the wheels again. And believe it or not, in boxing, they can give you the license, but for you to come up the proper way, if you don't have a decorated amateur background, you're going to get thrown in the pros, not even the amateurs, which is a way tougher environment because there's no headgear. The hand wraps are different. The ounces, it's, you get cut, you get bloodied and broken. You can get hurt. So, I made some phone calls and I really wasn't having luck getting the right system. My best friend Ricky, which also had his managing license at the time, dove in with me right away. So we started digging because he has connections. And then I see a post on Instagram, and it's a buddy of mine, White Boy Hialeah champ. Shout out to White Boy.
Yeah.
He put a post because he does the backyard fights that Kimbo and Dada were in from back in the day, but the sport's becoming a little more organized. But it's basically street fighting. He puts up a post and he says something along the lines of, anybody interested in this gladiator sport, it's not like boxing. It's a little different. If you're up for it, I'm officially making matches and looking for, we're recruiting fighters. Hit me up. And I knew White Boy mutually through somebody else, but right away something told me, you know what, man, let me hit this guy up. So I was like, I wrote to him, hey, I'm interested in this. I want to see what's going on here. And right away from talking to him, it was I just got the right vibe about it. Except that it's obviously with no gloves. So it's
a little different.
Had to take that risk. And at that specific time in my life, which was almost a year now to date, what's the worst that's going to happen? I had the guts already I was ready to, when you got nothing to lose, man, it's so easy to just, okay, no gloves. I just got to move my head a little bit more and not get hit. And it turned out being one of the best decisions I've made, man. As you know, I've come a long way already in such a short period of time. And the right matchups, everything just the pieces all moved together in such a way that, yeah, it's a little brutal, it's a little crazy, but it's working out just fine, man. It really is.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've been following some other bare knuckle guys on social media and stuff, and it seems to be it's a good path for like you're saying, like the political spectrum of like boxing, like if you're not an Olympian, if you're not this or like how to getting into the program, and then if you're not, you're gonna you're gonna fight bum and whatever, this whole kind of,
you're gonna get set up to lose.
Yep.
You're gonna have to pay to get your way in. Very seldomly can you just be a nobody off the street and you gotta have, it's like you said, political. It's all about who you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
Let alone getting paid for fights. Like you're gonna have, in boxing it's different, in the backyard, since even I have fighters coming up to me all the time and they're like, you're doing that no glove thing, the bare knuckle boxing? They're like, dude, you're nuts, man. That is crazy. But it's like, dude, it's an outlet. It may be a little bit rougher, but there's doors that are opening a lot easier in that. And it's a sport. Forbes came out with an article on it that this sport is rising and rising fast.
Yeah.
The medical research behind it is it's safer because the fights get stopped a lot faster. Mm-hmm. There's not that repeated trauma to the head. It's an organized sport just like anything else. Mm-hmm. And to me personally, having the bragging rights is priceless, man. I'm a modern day gladiator.
100%.
I love it,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you can't beat having real opportunity like that.
Exactly.
You know?
They're taking care of me. Data 5000, White Boy, Mike, all those people from the BYB, the Backyard Brawl, they've been amazing. They really have been. And it's that fighter and warrior aspect of everything where it's like, it's a brutal sport, but at the same time, it's very like it's team oriented. We've so to speak got each other's back there, man. Everything's been great.
Yeah. And can you describe a little for the listeners who, most of which probably have never even been punched with a 16-ounce glove, but, just the bare fist on stage. And obviously it's during COVID, so, you're no audience and all that, but still, you're in a ring, and it's a different type of ring. Like everything, it's like...
Yeah, it's a little more, okay, so the Trigon, hence the name, is a triangular shaped ring where the corners aren't like a boxing corner where you have a 90-degree angle. These corners are a lot deeper. So you get stuck in one of those, it's very easy to stay there and get trapped there. And the ring is about half the size. So I would say a typical boxing ring I would average it out at 15 by 15 feet. Maybe 20 by 20 feet. If you're lucky, you get a little more room to move if you know how to use it. The Trigon is probably like 12 feet at most.
No room to run.
No, there's no room. It's literally stand there and toe to toe, or toe the line is what they say, which is a line, both fighters in the center.
That's crazy.
And to touch the subject on getting hit without the gloves, it definitely hurts a lot more. It's
no surprise.
It's a high level of, I wouldn't say high level because the boxers and the boxing world is a very high level of IQ of fighting, but just you can't afford to make a mistake in there because one mistake, you're gone. I'm going to use this analogy from one of our matchmakers in BYB. And Ricky, my manager, knows about this, and we laugh about it all the time. She says, her name's Stacy. She says, bare knuckle boxing and fighting is like, it's like you're boxing a cobra. You know what I mean? You want to strike, and you got to get out fast before that cobra comes and hits you. Yeah. And it hits fast and hard, Yeah. Same aspect.
And so you were getting ready. So, yeah, I mean, you've made your debut, and the process of getting ready for that fight at the Hard Rock, live stream, all this stuff, and getting that all together during this pandemic. I mean, so much coming together in that moment when you're in that ring, and it's like all that work. I mean, what was going through your mind? You're there.
In that moment, man, you just, when I came out there, you hear the smoke machine. They let out all the smoke. They announce your name. All these aspects outside of life that are playing into this, like you're describing. How I felt, I was eerily calm, to be honest with you. It was like, this is where I belong, Why have I been away from this for so long? Like, it was like I was home, man. I don't know how else to explain it. It was just such a surreal feeling. And just being in the Hard Rock and that beautiful guitar and just, it was amazing, man. It was one of the best nights of my life, hands down. Like, it's just all that hard work paying off is something that I like. Yeah. Going to the grave is something, those were one of the things that is on my list of accomplishments.
I mean, I feel like to have that level of experience in that where you feel like the moment is right there for you and everything's coming together, it's also a reflection of the preparation. Like, you left no stones unturned.
I gave everything I had and more every single day, through my injuries, through my soreness, through my job, everything. I got up every day. I worked out 2-3 times a day. We're talking, the track work, strength and conditioning with the guys, weights, and then 4 a.m., 5 a.m. training with my coach right before work. It was like my sacrifice for that. I was ready to give my life in there, and that's what it takes to be able to get the results that I got. I'm very blessed, but at the same time, I worked extremely hard, every single day. Even on the rest days, it was not even rest because you're mentally preparing. If you're a smarter fighter, like the way that I was taught, I'm resting, but I'm watching film. I'm studying.
Yeah.
What am I studying? I'm looking up all these because bare knuckle is such a new sport.
Right.
There's really nothing to go after. So I'm studying everything that I know or putting together every little piece that I can. Like, okay, I just got to be a lot sharper, move a lot more. You know, so I would study guys like Tyson, you know, Pernell Whitaker, guys that had very good defense, Mayweather, and try to, how am I going to transition that over now to not using the glove? Because the glove has so much space around it that, you know, you can catch and use your body in a way that you block punches, but a fist gets through those holes a lot easier and a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, just work and work and work just to be able to have that.
No, you can't just put two hands up and eat a jab.
No, you eat a jab, right away you can get cut. You know, your nose gets swollen. I got hit with one single punch, and the side of my head was like a football for like weeks after the fight. You know, even with ice and everything, it was hard to chew food after. So imagine going 5 rounds of getting punishment like that. That's why those fights are safer, because that damage is so quick that that's
fight's over.
You know, it's a level up from the UFC, because the UFC stoppages are faster than the boxing ones.
Yeah.
And that's what really causes that damage, you know, is that repeated trauma to the head.
Bam, over and over.
Bam, bam, your brain bouncing around in there.
Yeah.
Hit and don't get hit.
Yeah. Well, and so, I mean, you caught, I remember watching the footage. It seemed like you caught a guy with, it was almost like a hook jab, right? Was it the left hand?
A lot of people say it was the jab. When they interviewed him, he was talking about the body shots. So if you watch a little bit before, I was throwing hooks and uppercuts to the body the whole time to kind of wear him down. And just a little giving away my bare knuckle secrets here that I already found, is the body, you stand less of a chance of breaking your hand. Like, I've been watching some of these guys, you know, like you catch an elbow on your fist, you know, or there was a guy using his forehead, bam, to like break the fist, because if you hit the top of the head, your hand is gonna get done, you know.
Right.
Very easily damaged. So I had taken that into perspective, and my coach just told me, you can box way better than all these guys. You know, just use your jab, take your time, and you work the body very good. Just go downstairs. So in the interview, he says it was the body shots. When I got him in the corner, I threw a 1-2, and then as I was going to the body, he just fell, man. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm guessing it was a jab. I can't really figure it out.
I felt like, I mean, it's hard with the footage, you know, you're like, from the angle you're at, I felt like I'd seen a clean, like, almost like a hooked jab. Like, it's a jab, but it came out at an angle, caught him on the side.
Yeah, like a looping straight shot. And I'm lefty, so that my hand is
I forget that about you. De La Hoya style. I got the power hand left, up front, orthodox stance.
Yeah, man. And but, you know, it's funny because normally when you hit somebody, you know exactly what you hit them with, but it all happens so fast. It's not like in the movies, you know.
Right.
It's the guy just fell, dude. But I think it may have been that jab and a right hand that snuck around, because he shifted his hands forward.
Boom, came around it.
Looping one in the temple, and then he just kind of plopped.
And was he out? Did you guys talk after, or was he was?
Yeah, we talked after. He says that he hurt his hand hitting me. He maybe hit it, because I got hit right up, you know, around the temple area. So maybe he hurt his hand. But he says between the body shots and the hand, that he just decided to stay down before anything else happened. That he just was like, nah, I'm going to sit this one out.
Yeah. That's what happens.
He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. We shook hands after the fight. Like, everything was all fine and dandy. Boxing's the weirdest thing, man. You can try to rip each other's head off, and then after we're gonna shake hands and probably go grab a beer, and you'll probably end up being one of the closest friends I'll ever have in my life.
Right.
No lie, you know, true stories.
it is true. I mean, people that, you know, I was talking about that with Raphael on the last pod about, like, you know, you're trying to rip each other's heads off, and then afterwards, you know, it's not like, you know, you're talking shit to each other. You know, there's a camaraderie and having been through it together.
It's like war, man. It's like, that's why they call it. It's also known as the gentleman's sport. That's
I didn't
why.
know that.
Yeah, they call boxing the gentleman's sport because of stuff like that. You know, there's a certain ethic. Is once you fight somebody, after the fight, it's like this respect that you guys give each other. You just went to war with the person, man. You know, unless there's bad blood, then that's something else. But
Right.
for the most part, after you spar somebody, it's you guys become pals, man. It never fails. Like I've worked with guys that you get there and there's like this awkward tension, you know, and then you're kind of looking at each other,
Right.
and it's like, all right, we're gonna. I don't know this guy. I hope if he tries to knock me out and really not work with me, I'm gonna just give it right back to him. And then after you start working with the person, after it's like completely changes. It's like you guys give each other dabs. It's like this respect that it only gets given to you in the ring going through that.
I mean, and well-deserved respect too, right? I mean, to anybody. Like, you're stepping in there, let alone bare knuckle. I mean, which is like a subculture of the whole thing. You know, it's crazy. And so now, okay, I mean, you've started on this journey. Want to know what's next? What's the next fight?
Hopefully, I'm looking at the end of March, early April. In the Hard Rock again. It's not for certain. You know, they're still working on venues and stuff, but to me, my personal goal, I want to be the first bare knuckle real champ to come out of this because it's a rising sport, and I see a lot of opportunity here. There's really not somebody who's dominating, so to speak, in this division, in this sport. So I want to be that guy, to be amongst one of the brutal sports that all these other fighters, no disrespect to anybody who uses gloves or MMA guys, but a lot of these guys don't want to do this because it's a whole different animal. I'm not that guy. I want to be the guy who's doing it. I want to be known for that, you know, and to make money doing it, which is that's the goal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave my mark in history in this.
That's badass, man. I mean, and you're on the path. It's happening for you.
Roller coaster path, dude. Yeah, man. I love every second of this. I really do.
I mean, it's so quickly. Could you talk about? I know because you were just telling me today you got a new promotion deal, and Ricky, who's your manager, he's got a new opportunity. Can you touch up on that a little bit about what's going on?
Yeah. So my manager, just got the gig as president of the boxing division in first round management. Congratulations to Rick. Rick's really worked hard for that, man. Ricky's an amazing human being. So we're transitioning over now from his champs management. It's gonna be with first round management now. They have, I'm gonna be amongst Yuli Monster, Jorge Masvidal, Charlie Deca. Shout out to Charlie Deca too for even making all this happen and a possibility. So from here, I'm looking to hopefully transition off, whether it's BYB, maybe get into BKFC, go after the titles everywhere in whatever weight division, 170, 160, 150. We want to take that over. And, first round management, I think, is going to be the people who are going to take us there.
That's awesome.
We're very excited about the move. It literally just happened yesterday. So it's like, we're still like, wow, dude, it's been less than a year already. And it was like, I was just talking about fighting maybe one day in the Hard Rock, and it's already happened. And then now it's like from just being in the backyard or my buddy's backyard to like now leveling up to this game. It's, man, what an experience, dude. I'm very happy and very appreciative of the opportunity they're giving us.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's awesome when things snowball like that. I mean, I feel like that's how you're on the right path in your life when doors just start opening for you. Like, and you put that energy out into the universe, and it is benevolent in that way. When you come at it and you're working towards it, and you've been focused so narrowly on this thing. Like, it's like you're late. You're like, I'm gonna. And leading up to the first fight, like, you don't know. Opponents may change. There's so many circumstances that people don't get this. Like, for any fighter, it's like the lead up to a fight. There's so much that could happen in between. Not to mention the fact someone could get COVID now, and then throw the whole thing off. So you're training anyway, and working. So it's like, and you're putting that positive energy, that hard work, that sacrifice. you get an opportunity, you seize the moment. Now doors start opening. You know, I feel like that's the bet. You can go to sleep at night knowing you're on the right you're on a path that's opening doors. I mean, what else can there be? You know what I mean? When you're pursuing a career, you know?
Yeah, man, it's been like the doors have scarily been opening in the right positions at the right time. It's like that's why I say it's surreal, man. It's been such an amazing journey so far, and just to be able to be growing at the rate that we're growing, it's something that's people just don't understand, man. Like you're saying, it's incredible. Like, you know, the fight, it's my opponent changed 2 or 3 times. I did a media shoot and the 0 to 60 sparring with one guy that I was supposed to fight, and then all of a sudden it changes to somebody else. Meanwhile, this whole time I got to keep the training up because they're telling you the fight is such and such. But all these aspects change and the venue changes, and then it's like it gets pushed back a day, or now it gets rushed forward. And you just gotta, it's like, you know, when they sub a player in basketball or football, that, yo, get off the bench, you're ready to go, your time to go in. You gotta be ready like that, man. And that's how those opportunities happen. Like, it's been known, like Jorge Masvidal himself takes fights sometimes on a week, 2 weeks notice.
Yeah.
But he's ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's the life that we live. It comes with the territory of being a fighter. And a lot of people just don't get that. It's that constant, you know, every day you're pushing your body to the physical limits just to be ready.
Yeah.
The most prepared you can ever be. It's intense.
It's super intense. And I mean, I'm glad, like, you've got this outlet to put it, because I know that's what you really been wanting, you know, is like,
yes, sir.
that yeah, the place to put it, and then also the job opportunity aspect, if that's what you call it in boxing, you know, getting these opportunities to fight in a pro arena and honest, you know, the whole thing. And it makes doing that work must feel like there's a, you know, that real purpose behind it all, and like life purpose and so many things that it can drive, you know.
It is, man. It's such an incredible feeling. And what's great now is that, you know, people are watching, and I get a lot of people who are like, man, that's incredible what you're doing, dude. I love watching, you know, it motivates other people. And if I can help somebody in any kind of way by doing what I'm doing, man, life purpose right there, you know.
It's awesome, dude.
I would love to be able to maybe save somebody from going through something just by watching all this, or maybe get up and change their life, however, whether it be your job, losing weight, fighting, sports, whatever the case may be, health conditions, anything. Yeah. Life is a fight, man. It's a fight.
Yeah. And I know you've been through a lot of trials and tribulations in your life to get to this point, and you know, you're a survivor even outside of the ring, you know?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, that's, you know, there's plenty of people who need to be able to identify with someone like yourself, and it can fuel them, you know? It does for me, you know what I mean? It really does, because it's like,
Thank you.
And, you know, it's not easy to struggle and then, you know, find that outlet, and then, you know, when you get out of the gym, when you get out of the ring, keep it together, you know, so that you can get back there the next day. And I find that struggle in my own life, you know, where it's like, you know, I know if I just get there, you know, if you just get to I'm going to say the gym, and that could be people out there, you can apply that to anything, whatever, just getting there. But it's like, you got to cut out all that bullshit that keeps you from showing up to that place that where you make the ground floor of your mental home. You know what I mean? You got to get there, you know, and it's that in between bullshit. It's easy to feel good when you're at this level. You know, you can go bang it out at the gym. You know how to organize and work out. You know how to feel amazing after. But then you go home, and there's hours in between before you get there again the next day. What are the choices you're going to make? What is life going to throw at you? How do you keep it all together? Not to mention getting ready for a fight.
Yeah, it's a whole different fight outside of there.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you got to, like you said, because this lifestyle exceeds far beyond the ring. You have to be the same way you would be in the ring 24/7 for this to be working. And life sometimes and its elements will try to pull you and deviate you from all that. You know, it's a whole different entire fight mentally, man. But
Yeah.
it just takes hard work and sacrifice, dude. Like, it's, you know, it's because people, when they go through whatever trial and tribulation they're going through, a lot of the times, and I'm guilty of this too, sometimes you feel like you're the only one who's going through something like that. And you're not. Everybody in some type of way has some type of fight or some type of issue or something they're dealing with on their hands. And it's all about how you control that and deal with it. It may not be easy.
Right.
You know, it may suck. It may be painful. But it's got to get done. If not, the only thing you're damaging is yourself.
Right.
You know.
Right. And this gets back to what you were saying about being your own worst enemy. I think
Yeah,
a lot of
man.
us can relate to that. I mean, it's really the truth, you know?
It's the reality of things.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something they got to deal with, man. Some kind of battle, some kind of struggle, and you got to just push through it.
Yeah, man. Well, this was awesome, dude. I'm so glad we did this. We got to do it again.
Yeah,
we
absolutely,
gotta,
man.
get you back on.
With the whole crew, too, with Champs Management, or First Round Management now, I'm sorry.
Yes. Ricky, we got to get you on here, man.
Yeah, Ricky's got to come on. Cav. Yeah, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing you get back in there, too, man. I really am inspired by the way that you work, too. I really, like...
Appreciate you, man.
It's coming from the bottom of my heart. Like,
Yeah,
it's
man.
something that I never forget. And every time I see you, I know because I went through that, man. And
Yeah.
it's like, it brings back that... It brings
Those
back that
memories.
sweet spot for me where I was, like, bouncing around places, showing up. My nose is messed up, but I'm here the next day. Okay, how do I fix this? What did I
Right.
do wrong, you know?
Totally, man.
So I appreciate it too, man, for having me out and thinking of me and bringing me on the podcast.
Absolutely, dude. I appreciate you,
Amazing.
man. And for everything, I was on the phone 24 hours before my last fight or whatever, just going, talking it out. So it's always, man, it's always, what it is. Tell people where they can find you on Instagram, all that.
Okay, so my Instagram is the Goat Boxer. That's how you basically, Instagram. Or Jose Fernandez if it's Facebook. Those two areas. Come and find me there.
Yeah. Check them out, guys, and, support them. And I can't wait. And I know maybe some people out there listening to feel the same way. Come when we can get back in the arena and watch this stuff go down live again, I mean, with the pandemic and whatever, socially distanced seats. Let's make it happen. I want to come watch.
Absolutely. It's nothing like fighting in front of a crowd, let alone a bunch of people that are there to support you, man. Hopefully, this next fight, they were talking about having people here. I really hope that it happens because this COVID thing is kind of turning everything upside down. So, hopefully, God willing, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for everybody out there listening. Thank you to Jose, and that's a wrap, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, listeners. Take care.